Florida, the third most populated state in America. Over 23 million people now call it home, and hundreds more show up every single day. The U-Haul Growth Index ranked it the number 2 state in the country for inbound moves in 22.5. 8 of the top 10 fastest-growing cities in America were right here in the Sunshine State. And everyone knows the names: Miami, Tampa, Orlando, Naples, Fort Lauderdale. Places where a modest 3-bedroom house now costs you somewhere between $400,000 and $800,000. Places where your monthly rent eats half your paycheck before you have even bought groceries. But here is something most people moving to Florida never hear. This state is enormous. It stretches over 65,000 square miles. And while the coasts and the theme park corridors get all the attention, there are towns scattered across this state where the cost of living is so low it feels like a pricing error. Towns where the median home sits under $250,000. Towns where your rent check is under $1,000. Towns where people are actually living well, not just surviving, on a normal income. Today we are covering 10 of them. 10 Florida towns so cheap you genuinely will not believe they are still in Florida. These are not abandoned places or broken down communities. They are real towns with real people, real infrastructure, and real reasons they cost so little. We are going to walk through the housing numbers, the cost of living data, what daily life actually looks like on the ground, and the honest trade-offs you need to know about before you pack a truck. If this is the kind of content you are into, honest breakdowns of real places with actual data, go ahead and subscribe to Inside Florida. We do this every week, and it only gets deeper from here. Let us get into it. Number 10, Bartow. Bartow sits right in the center of the state in Polk County, about 15 miles south of Lakeland. Population sits around 21,000, and if you have never heard of it, that is kind of the point. Bartow is one of those towns that people drive past on the way to somewhere else without ever giving it a second look. That is a mistake. The median home sale price in Bartow as of early 2206 is roughly $268,000 according to Redfin. That is down over 15% compared to the previous year. Homes here are sitting on the market for over 100 days on average, which means if you are a buyer, you have negotiating power that barely exists anywhere else in Florida right now. The cost of living overall sits about 6% below the national average. What does Bartow actually feel like? It is the county seat of Polk County, so there is a courthouse, local government offices, and a small but functional downtown. The architecture has this old Florida charm that you do not see in the cookie-cutter subdivisions sprouting up around Orlando. Bartow also sits right between Tampa and Orlando, roughly 45 minutes to either one. That positioning matters. You can access the job markets, the airports, the hospitals, and the entertainment of 2 major metros while paying prices that belong in a completely different state. Now the honest part, Bartow is not flashy. There is no beach, there is no nightlife scene. The job market locally is limited, so if you are not remote or retired, you are commuting. Summers are brutally hot and humid, which is true everywhere in Central Florida, but without the ocean breeze, it hits different. Property insurance in Polk County has also been climbing, which is a statewide issue, but still worth factoring in. For someone who wants Central Florida access at a fraction of the price, Bartow is one of the smartest budget picks on the map right now. Number 9, Palatka. Palatka is in Putnam County, about an hour south of Jacksonville, right along the St. Johns River. Population is small, around 11,000, and the town has a complicated history. It was once a major destination in Old Florida, a river town that attracted tourists before Disney was even a concept. Over the decades, the economy shifted, the tourists stopped coming, and Palatka settled into a quiet, sometimes overlooked existence. But look at the numbers. The median home sale price has dropped significantly, with recent data showing sales around $153,000, though the broader area averages are closer to $220,000. Either way, for Florida, those numbers are almost hard to believe. Homes sit on the market for months. There is no bidding war energy here. And if you are buying with cash or a strong pre-approval, you can find properties that would cost double or triple anywhere near Jacksonville or St. Augustine. Palatka sits on the St. Johns River, which is one of the most significant waterways in the state. The riverfront gives the town a character that strip mall suburbs simply cannot replicate. There is a small downtown with some revitalization happening, a local art scene that punches above its weight, and the Ravine Garden State Park, which is genuinely beautiful. The azalea gardens there draw visitors from across the region every spring. The trade-offs are real though. Putnam County has higher poverty rates than the state average. The school ratings are below what most families would want. Employment opportunities are limited, so this is a town that works best for retirees, remote workers, or anyone who has their income sorted and just needs a low-cost place to land. Healthcare access requires driving to Jacksonville or Gainesville for anything beyond basic care. But purely on the numbers, Alatka is one of the cheapest places in the entire state of Florida where you can still own a home near water with genuine natural beauty around you. Number 8. Lake City. Lake City is in Columbia County in north central Florida, right where Interstate 10 meets Interstate 75. That crossroads location is quietly one of its biggest advantages. Population is about 12,000, and this town operates as the gateway between North Florida and the rest of the state. The median home value in Lake City sits around $263,000 according to Zillow. The cost of living here is roughly 12 to 18% below the national average depending on which index you use. The best place's cost of living score comes in at 85.5, which means you are spending about 15 cents less on every dollar compared to the average American city. Housing costs specifically run over 20% below the national average. Lake City earns its name honestly. The area is surrounded by freshwater springs and lakes, including access to Ichetucknee Springs State Park, which is one of the most popular natural attractions in North Florida. The spring-fed river there runs crystal clear, and on a summer weekend, locals and visitors float down it by the hundreds. Olusty Battlefield Historic State Park is nearby as well, preserving the site of the largest Civil War battle fought in Florida. If you are into the outdoors, fishing, kayaking, hiking, or just want clean air and green space, Lake City delivers that. The town has basic amenities: a Walmart, a Publix, local restaurants, a community college. Shands Lakeshore Regional Medical Center handles basic healthcare needs. For anything serious, Gainesville is about 45 minutes south, which gives you access to the University of Florida Health System, one of the best in the Southeast. The downsides: Lake City is rural. There is no getting around that. Entertainment options are limited. The local job market is not booming. North Florida summers are hot and humid, and unlike South Florida, you get actual cold fronts in winter. Not freezing, but enough to notice. If you need an urban lifestyle, this will feel isolating. But if you want affordable Florida with genuine natural beauty and easy highway access to Jacksonville or Gainesville, Lake City is a legitimate option that most people overlook entirely. Number 7. Sebring. Sebring is in Highlands County in the south central part of the state, about 90 miles south of Orlando. Population is around 12 to 13,000, and this is one of those towns that motorsports fans know by name, but almost nobody else does. The Sebring International Raceway hosts the 12 Hours of Sebring every year, one of the most prestigious endurance races in the world. Outside of race weekend, though, Sebring is a quiet lakeside town that operates at its own pace. The housing numbers here are some of the lowest on this entire list. The average home value, according to Zillow, is about $235,000. And Redfin data shows recent median sales around $200. The cost of living index sits at 87 or 88, depending on the source, which means you are paying about 13% less than the national average across the board. The housing index specifically is 36% below the national average. That is a massive gap. Sebring wraps around Lake Jackson, which anchors the town both geographically and culturally. The downtown area is built around a historic circle, which gives it a distinctive small-town layout you do not find in most Florida communities. Highlands Hammock State Park is one of the oldest state parks in Florida, featuring ancient hardwood hammocks, elevated boardwalks, and some of the most scenic trails in the central part of the state. If you enjoy being outdoors without fighting crowds, this is the kind of place where you can do that 360 days a year. Healthcare is handled by Advent Health Sebring. For specialists or major procedures, you are driving to either Lakeland or the Orlando area. The median household income is lower than the state average, which reflects the limited local job market. But property taxes in Highlands County are among the lowest in Florida, and if you own your home outright, your monthly fixed costs here can be remarkably low. Utilities run about 9% above the national average due to summer air conditioning costs, but that is offset by how cheap everything else is. For retirees or remote workers who want a lakeside Florida lifestyle without the coastal price tag, Sebring is one of the most undervalued spots in the state. And speaking of value, if you are finding this useful, this is a good time to hit that subscribe button. We break down Florida towns like this every week with real data and honest takes. The next 6 towns on this list are even cheaper, and some of them are going to genuinely surprise you. Number 6. Dade City. Dade City is in Pasco County, about 35 to 40 minutes north of downtown Tampa. Population is just under 10,000. And this might be the sweet spot of this entire list because you get genuine small-town Florida living with big city access that most cheap towns simply cannot offer. The median home price in Dade City falls under $350,000, with the cost of living sitting about 6% below the national average. For context, Tampa's median home price is pushing $450,000 and climbing, so you are saving well over $100,000 on a home while still being close enough to commute into the Tampa metro if you need to. Dade City has a charming downtown that feels like old Florida. Antique shops, local eateries, a historic courthouse. The town is known for its annual Kumquat Festival, which draws thousands of visitors every January. The surrounding area is green, rolling, and surprisingly rural feeling for being this close to a major metro. This is cattle country and citrus country, and the landscape reflects that. The average age in Dade City is around 36, making it one of the younger communities on this list. That suggests this is not just a retirement town. Young families and first-time buyers are finding it too. The school system is part of Pasco County, which is generally regarded as decent by Florida standards. The trade-offs. If you need walkable urban living, this is not it. Pasco County has seen rapid development in some areas, so traffic patterns are changing. And like everywhere in Florida, homeowner insurance is a growing concern. But for the combination of price, proximity, and small-town character, Dade City might be the best-kept secret in the greater Tampa Bay region. Number 5. Inverness. Inverness is the county seat of Citrus County, about 90 minutes north of Tampa. Population is about 8,000. And this town is a retiree magnet for a reason that most people do not know about until they visit. Inverness is surrounded by a chain of lakes, natural springs, and preserves that make it feel like a nature retreat rather than a place where people actually live full-time. The cost of living in Inverness runs about 8% below the national average and 16% below the Florida state average, according to ERI data. Citrus County's median home price sits around $280,000, but within the city of Inverness itself, you can find properties well below that. Homes under $200,000 exist here. In Florida, in $22,000, that is not a typo. The median age in Inverness is 59, which tells you exactly who this town appeals to. Retirees, snowbirds, and people who want a slow pace of life surrounded by nature. The Withlacoochee State Trail runs right through the area, offering over 46 miles of paved trail for cycling, walking, and horseback riding. Crystal River, famous for its manatee encounters, is about 20 minutes west. The Gulf of Mexico is within a 30-minute drive. Fort Cooper State Park sits on the edge of town and offers swimming, fishing, and hiking. The downtown area is small but functional, with a few restaurants, a movie theater, and a genuine sense of community. The Flying Eagle Preserve, nearly 11,000 acres of protected land, is basically in the town's backyard. Healthcare access is adequate for basics. Citrus Memorial Hospital is in the area, and for anything major, you are driving to Ocala or Tampa. The local economy is not booming, but that is part of the deal. You are not here for career advancement. You are here because your mortgage payment is half what it would be an hour south, and you can see manatees on a Tuesday morning. Number 4. Titusville. Titusville is on Florida's Space Coast, in Brevard County, about 45 minutes east of Orlando. Population is around 48,000, making it one of the larger towns on this list. And this one has something none of the others can match: a front row seat to rocket launches. Titusville sits directly across the Indian River Lagoon from Kennedy Space Center. When SpaceX or NASA launches from Cape Canaveral, people in Titusville walk outside and watch. That alone gives this town a unique identity that sets it apart from every other affordable community in the state. The median home price here runs around $300,000, which is roughly 30% below the national average. The cost of living index sits about 8% lower than the national average as well. For a town on the water, with Space Coast access, and within commuting distance of Orlando, those numbers are remarkably low. Titusville has been through economic cycles. When the Space Shuttle program ended in 2011, the town lost thousands of jobs and went through a painful downturn. But the rise of commercial spaceflight, particularly SpaceX, has brought a new wave of energy and employment. The job market is recovering, and the town is investing in its waterfront and downtown areas. The Merritt Island National Wildlife Refuge and Canaveral National Seashore are right there, offering some of the best undeveloped beach and wildlife viewing in the entire state. Playa Linda Beach, part of the National Seashore, is one of the most beautiful and least crowded beaches in Florida. The downsides. Titusville still carries some economic scars from the shuttle era. Certain neighborhoods have higher vacancy rates. The town does not have the dining and entertainment scene that nearby Melbourne or Cocoa Beach offer. And hurricane exposure on the Space Coast is real, which impacts insurance costs. But for the price, the location, and the sheer uniqueness of living in a place where you watch rockets light up the sky from your backyard, Titusville might be the most interesting, affordable town in all of Florida. Number 3. Ocala. Ocala is in Marion County in north-central Florida And this is the first town on our list that is genuinely gaining serious national attention. The U-Haul Growth Index ranked Ocala the #1 growth city in the entire United States for 22.5, and it held that same spot in 22.4 and 22.2. People are pouring in, and the reason is simple. The math works here. The median home price in Ocala sits around $240,000 to $260,000. The cost of living runs about 8% below the national average. Marion County's property tax rates are lower than the Florida average, and unlike coastal communities where insurance premiums have become a second mortgage, Ocala's inland location means significantly lower hurricane and flood insurance costs. Known as the horse capital of the world, Ocala is surrounded by rolling green pastures, horse farms, and oak-lined roads that look nothing like what most people picture when they think of Florida. Silver Springs State Park, home to some of the clearest freshwater springs in the country, is right here. The Ocala National Forest, the second largest national forest in the eastern United States, covers nearly 400,000 acres and sits on the town's eastern border. The outdoor recreation access is world-class. The healthcare system here is solid. Advent Health Ocala and Ocala Regional Medical Center provide comprehensive care. The job market is expanding, particularly in healthcare, logistics, and warehouse distribution. Amazon and FedEx both have major operations in the area. Median household income is rising. The school system is a mixed bag by neighborhood. Some areas are strong, others need improvement. Traffic has gotten noticeably worse as the population has grown, particularly along State Road 200, and the rapid growth means the infrastructure is playing catch-up. New subdivisions are going up faster than the roads and schools can keep pace. But the fundamental value proposition is hard to argue with. Affordable housing, low insurance, natural beauty, a growing job market, and a cost of living that gives normal people room to breathe. Ocala is not a hidden gem anymore. It is a town that is being discovered in real time. And if the growth continues at this rate, the prices are not going to stay this low forever. Number 2, Edgewater. Edgewater is in Volusia County, on the East Coast, just south of New Smyrna Beach. Population is about 28,000, and this might be the most overlooked affordable coastal-adjacent town in the entire state. The average home price in Edgewater sits around $250,000 according to Zillow. The cost of living index comes in at roughly 91, which means you are paying about 9% less than the national average. For a town that is 10 minutes from one of the best beaches in Florida, those numbers are almost absurd. New Smyrna Beach consistently ranks among the top beaches in the state, and it is right there. You do not need to drive 2 hours to see the ocean. You barely need to drive at all. The Indian River Lagoon runs along Edgewater's eastern edge, offering fishing, kayaking, and wildlife viewing. Manatees are common in the waterways here during cooler months. Edgewater has seen quiet but steady growth. Job growth is projected to increase by over 40% over the next decade, which is above the national average. The crime rate is low, significantly below the Florida state average in most categories. The school system is part of Volusia County, which offers a range of quality depending on the specific school. The vibe here is residential and relaxed. This is not a tourist town. It is a place where people actually live and go about their business without the traffic and chaos that beach towns further south deal with every weekend. There is a Winn-Dixie, a few local restaurants, and basic retail. For anything more, Daytona Beach is about 20 minutes north. The average age is around 54, which leans toward retirees, but younger families are increasingly finding it as remote work makes location more flexible. The housing market here is not competitive, meaning homes sit on the market long enough for buyers to make thoughtful decisions. For someone who wants to be near the ocean in Florida without paying ocean prices, Edgewater is one of the last remaining places where that is actually possible. Number 1, Crestview. Crestview is in Okaloosa County, in the Florida Panhandle, about 25 miles north of the Emerald Coast beaches. Population is around 28,000 and growing. And this is our number 1 pick because it combines affordability, location, growth trajectory, and quality of life in a way that none of the other towns on this list quite match. The median home price in Crestview typically falls in the $270,000 to $300,000 range, depending on the neighborhood. The cost of living runs below the national average. No state income tax, relatively reasonable property taxes, and home insurance costs that are lower than what you would pay directly on the coast. For the Florida Panhandle, where Destin and the 30A corridor can easily run you over $500,000 for a modest home, Crestview offers a completely different financial reality. The location is the key. Crestview sits at the intersection of Interstate 10 and State Road 85, giving it direct highway access to Pensacola to the west, and Fort Walton Beach and Destin to the south. The beaches of the Emerald Coast, the ones with the white sugar sand and the turquoise water that people travel from around the world to see, are a 30 to 40 minute drive. You get beach access without beach prices. That trade-off is the entire pitch, and it is a strong one. Crestview also benefits from a stable economic base. Eglin Air Force Base, one of the largest military installations in the world, is about 15 miles south. Hurlburt Field is nearby as well. The military presence provides thousands of jobs and a steady flow of people cycling through the area, which supports local businesses and keeps the economy stable in ways that many small towns cannot match. The town has grown significantly over the past decade. New subdivisions, new retail, a new Publix. The schools in Okaloosa County are among the best rated in the state, which is a major draw for families. The community has a strong military family presence, which tends to create a neighborly, well-maintained atmosphere. The Panhandle climate is different from the rest of Florida. You get actual seasons here. Winters are mild but cooler than South Florida, with temperatures dipping into the 40s at night during December and January. Summers are hot and humid, but the Gulf breeze reaches Crestview more than most inland towns. Hurricane risk exists, as it does across the entire Gulf Coast, but Crestview's inland position reduces storm surge concerns compared to the beach communities. The trade-offs. Crestview is growing, which means traffic on 85 heading toward the coast has gotten worse. The town is not walkable. You need a car for everything. Dining and entertainment options are improving but still limited compared to the coast. And if you are moving from a major metro, the pace of life here will be a significant adjustment. But here is the reality. You can buy a 3-bedroom home in Crestview, have money left over every month, drive 30 minutes to some of the most beautiful beaches in America, send your kids to genuinely good public schools, and live in a community with a stable economy. In 22.6 in Florida, that combination is rare enough to be remarkable. That is our list. 10 Florida towns where your dollar stretches further than you would ever expect in the Sunshine State. From the motorsports charm of Sebring to the rocket launches of Titusville. From the hidden springs of Inverness to the Emerald Coast access of Crestview. These are places where real people are building real lives without drowning in housing costs. The statewide median home price in Florida is around $375,000 and climbing. The average rent is pushing $2,000 a month. The insurance crisis is squeezing budgets everywhere. But Florida is a big state, and if you are willing to look beyond the obvious zip codes, the opportunities are still there. If you found this useful, do us a favor and hit subscribe. We cover Florida towns, migration trends, affordability, and the stories behind the places that nobody else is talking about. Every week, right here on Inside Florida, drop a comment and tell us which of these 10 towns surprised you the most. And if you live in any of them, what did we get right and what did we miss? We read every single comment and we use them to make the next video even better. Until next time, thanks for watching.